Hi, I'm Caitlin. I'm an acrylic painter. I go by Caitlin Briggs on Instagram and Caitlin Briggs Art on TikTok. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk to you about my most used and most loved art supplies. And here they are. So I'm always trying new things. I love going to the art store and buying stuff and trying out new stuff, but these are things that I use a lot in my practice and things that work well for me. These are pretty staple items and things that I use all the time. So let's just get straight into it, because I just know I'm going to absolutely ramble on because I love talking about art supplies. So may as well just get into it. I don't know where to start, so I'm just gonna start at the top of this mountain. So first of all, we've got on the top palettes. I really just like the cheap plastic palettes. Eckersley's and Officeworks. Eckersley's is like 2 to 3 times the price for essentially the same thing. So as you can see, I go through quite a lot and I keep them. This is actually genuinely quite heavy now. And yeah, I keep them. I want to do something with them one day. This is the one I'm using at the moment, and this is definitely from Officeworks. I think it was about $6 and I really like it. So that's that. For actual paint, I'm not loyal to any brand. I use lots of different brands of acrylic paint and I've collected it over the years. I do have quite a bit because I've started painting, like painting is now my main medium, acrylic painting. I'm starting to get to know what kind of paint and what brands and stuff that I like. My favorites currently are the Liquitex heavy body acrylic, and I really like the Matisse Flow range. I like Liquitex because I really like their shade range. I wish they had these not in heavy body, because heavy body isn't my favorite kind of paint. I do like a paint that's a little bit more like runny, but I compromise because I do really like their shade range. It's affordable and it's good quality. And the Matisse range, Derivan Matisse, I like the Flow range. I love the color range they have. This one specifically is Australian Red Violet, and it's a series 6, so it's a little pricey, but it's a really beautiful color and they do some really nice colors. I like their Australian range. It's really unique. Yeah, I like these. Caps are a big thing to me. So that's another reason why I love the Liquitex range of paints, is because they've got this like screw top, which I quite like. Because now we're gonna get to the paints that every acrylic painter raves about and is in love with. Honestly, I like them, but I don't know if I've tried enough to fully get the hype. So I'm talking about golden paints. Now you can see this is pretty beat up. I've used a lot of the color. I love the color. The color is really nice, but I pretty much immediately lost the cap because I'm messy and this got all gunked up and I couldn't put the cap back on, so the cap's gone. And so it just dried out at the top. And I don't really have that problem with most of my other brands of paint. I don't know why I had it specifically with golden. I can't be bothered with that. It annoys me, so I'm not really gonna buy too many golden paints for that reason. Now for brushes for acrylic painting. Once again, I try lots of brushes. I use different things. Because acrylic painting is like my main medium now, I'm starting to hone in on what I like and what works for me. These are my main sort of favorite brushes. Now these are from Officeworks. I actually think this one might be too, but these two are the Zen, Royal and Langnickel range from Officeworks. And you'll know, if you go to Officeworks, you'll see the shiny silver handles. I love these. They're just synthetic. They come in different sizes. I might actually pop down today and get a few more. Do they have numbers? Yeah, this is the Z43A, and it's just a little mini dagger brush. And this is the Z43B, and it's just a larger flat brush. But I use these in every one of my larger paintings. This has no name on it anymore. It's so old and so used, but I did see something similar at Officeworks, so I think it might be from there. It's just one of those cheap synthetic rough bristle brushes, but I really like this and I use it a lot in my large paintings. It holds a lot of water and I can get lots of drippy effects, blend in backgrounds, lay down big bits of color, and I like it. Now I also have my Catalyst by Princeton brush. I love this brush and I use this brush so much. This is the Polytip bristle and it's a bright in number 6. I want more of these desperately, but they're not cheap. But if you're going to invest in brushes, these are amazing brushes for acrylic painting. This is definitely one of my most used brushes. I love it. And the last one here is also from Officeworks. I didn't realize how many art supplies I have that are available at Officeworks. I like this because it's big, but not too big. It's just a nice general purpose, large, flat kind of brush. This is where I keep most of my brushes for my big acrylic paintings. They're all fine. I use them all. But these are like the main guys. Oh, and actually, I nearly forgot. I also use this little detail brush quite a bit too. And it's a Neef number 4 round brush. But I like the long handle for details for larger paintings. And if I'm painting on paper with acrylics, which I sometimes do, like in my sketchbook, I'll usually use like this, and I have some short-handled acrylic brushes. Should I get them to show you? They're just like this, but with short handles. You know what short-handled acrylic brushes look like. So that was the acrylic painting portion done. Oh, no, I lied. So as you can see, I work on some quite big canvases. There's big ones back there. Canvases are my favorite like substrate for painting with acrylics. I just use, you know, the artist grade ones from the art store. Nothing crazy expensive, just good quality. I usually use the like double thick ones, but I also use the regular thinness ones. I just thought I'd include quickly, I also really like canvases in different shapes. So if I'm doing smaller paintings like this one, he's not quite finished, but he's a bit smaller. And this one here, I really like using canvases of different shapes. So either panels, but I most likely enjoy using stretched canvases of like circles or hexagons or fun shapes. I've even got some triangles up there. I got the hexagons from Spotlight. I think I got these round ones from the art store. I'm always keeping my eye out for smaller canvases in like interesting and unique shapes. So, okay, we'll do this. It's adjacent to acrylic painting, or I guess it kind of is still acrylic paints. These babies. Now, these are something else, let me tell you. Never hear anyone talking about them, and it feels like they're my little secret, and half of me wants to keep it that way because, ooh, I love them and no one else knows about them. But that's dumb, and you guys should be using these because they're super fun. These are the lotttt One for All acrylic inks. So they're actually refills for the lotttt paint pens. So you probably heard of those, maybe? They're similar to Posca, but these are the refills. They're the smaller ones. You can actually get a larger size refill as well. These are amazing. I love the refills over the paint pens because I actually tip these out into a palette and use them with a brush like paint. The reason why I love these is because they are like a really thin acrylic gouache. The consistency is super liquid and the ability to get detail is amazing. I want to start using these more, and the reason why I included them is because they genuinely are one of my all-time favorite art supplies ever. I love these. I genuinely think that if you're thinking about getting acrylic gouache, get a couple tubes of this and see how you feel. You might not enjoy the really runny liquid consistency, but I do. I love it so much. I also love the range of colors. I don't even have them all. I want them all. My dream is to have all of the, I think they're like 100 ml refilled bottles displayed in rainbow order. That is the dream. but it's a very expensive dream. These are a little bit hard to find in Australia. There's one shop called the Butcher Shop which sells them, but last time I checked they were running low on a lot of colours. And the other place I know you can get them is Jackson's Art, which is the UK online store. They've got all the colours, the different sizes, and they're cheaper, but shipping and stuff takes a while. So they're not like a supply that's easy to get your hands on, but so worth it. And now that I'm looking at them, I just want to paint with these. I guess because they're not like very easily available is why you don't hear people talking about them. Also because some people might just use them to refill their pens or think that that's the only way you can use them, but it's definitely not. It's definitely not. Okay, let's change it up a little bit. I'm going to talk about my favorite like sketchbooks. I have tried many different ones and I will continue to, so these aren't ones that I'm going to stick with forever, but I am really liking them at the moment. So this is the Strathmore Mixed Media Sketchbook, the famous Strathmore sketchbook. It's quite expensive here in Australia, but I'm glad that I bought it. I do really think it's worth it. I have been using it for maybe a month. I don't sketchbook enough, so it's not very full, but I've used acrylic paint. This is with a background of gesso on it, so it's not straight on the paper, but handled amazingly. More acrylic. See, I use lots of different mediums and it holds up really well. The paper is amazing. I really like this. It's probably one of my favorite sketchbooks I've ever used. I think it's just really nice. It lays quite flat when you open it. The paper is, again, just nice and thick, handles any medium, handles water, handles paint, handles anything. It's nice to draw on. And I like the soft but bounds color. I would recommend. On the other end of the spectrum, this is just my messy sketchbook. This is the Clairefontaine Herbier sketchbook. And I've actually had this for quite a while now, but I used to use it a lot more. I have a messy sketchbook to write in more like notes, scribble thumbnails. This is just where the junk goes. And I actually don't know why I'm including it in this video because it's not my favorite. It's not my favorite for that, because for that I just need a really cheap sketchbook. This is overkill. This was $35. It's crazy. I don't need that. But I'm including this in this video because it actually has this interleaved paper, these vellum sort of sheets interleaved between the drawing paper. I think I would buy this again to use for a drawing sketchbook where I'm actually going to be doing like charcoal or any sort of like messier medium, because those interleaved sheets, I think that's actually genius because it stops the artwork from rubbing off and transferring onto the previous page. So that's the reason why I've included it. I do really like it. I just think I've been wasting it as a messy sketchbook. I've got like a decent chunk left, so I might actually just turn it into a charcoal study sketchbook. Why not? So yes, this is a paper house. So I've used it for like watercolor. It's fairly nice to draw on too. And I'm using this when I sort of want to do, oh, I don't know if YouTube's gonna like some boobs. When I'm wanting to do something that I might want to sell or do something more with, so it's not in a sketchbook, it's easily removable from this because the paper at the top is actually perforated. But I'm also sort of using it like a little sketchbook too. I wanna fill this thing up. I love the paper, I love the chunkiness, I love the texture of the paper, and yeah, would recommend. I really like the Strathmore toned grey papers. This is a little sketchbook I've had for years. I really like doing pencil or charcoal drawings on this. I've only just started using it again. This is half empty because I've had it for years and ripped pages out, but I really like the Strathmore toned paper. And my last paper that I'll mention is Upro paper. Now, I don't see a lot of artists using this apart from like sort of alcohol ink people. Now, I love painting on this with acrylic paint because it's weird. You get some weird effects and the paint works weird. It literally feels like plastic, like it's so smooth because it is plastic. I love this stuff. I think this is super fun. I've been doing some paintings on it and I highly enjoy it. So this is just the Eckersley's own brand. I have used the actual Upro branded paper. I think I might like it a little more. This one is super glossy, whereas that had a little tiny bit more of a matte texture. But I love this stuff. It's really fun. So we just talked about paper, so I'm going to talk about watercolor-y stuff now. This is my Winsor & Newton, I think it's the Cotman, how many paint set? I don't know how many paints there are in it, but this is like, you know, everyone had this back in the day and I still love this thing. If I'm painting with watercolor, this is what I'm using in combination with a few other things that I'll show you. And I think if you're gonna have like one watercolor set, which is kind of all you need, this one, this is it. I don't know, I have like a fond attachment to this thing. Yes, it's been with me for years. So a little bit of a newer thing that I enjoy, Micador watercolor disc things. I think they're called Brilliant Color Discs. I love these things. I got the complete set because I bought one and I tried it out and I really loved it. They're super inexpensive. I have a feeling that these are dye base, not a pigment base. These pigment, these dye. These I wouldn't use solely on an artwork that I was going to sell because I don't believe that the light fastness is super high. I've done this swatch card because there's no names on the pans or the discs, so they're a little bit annoying that way, but if you do a swatch you can sort of match up like what disc is what. So if I look at this one, I'm like, okay, that's the one with white and yellow in it, and then I figure out which color I'm gonna need or want from that. I've had this out in the sun when I've been painting a little bit and some of the colors have faded a tiny bit. Don't quote me on my hunch, but I do think that these might be dye based. And if you want to do your research about dye versus pigment paints, then you can do that. I won't get into it now, but basically it means that they're probably not going to last as long in the light. But for your sketchbook, these are absolutely stunning and phenomenal. I love these and I would very much suggest that you run out now and get them. The other watercolor paint that I use and absolutely love is Daniel Smith. And I have the Jean Haynes set and it came with a bunch of tubes and I bought my own little pans and I filled them with the paint. Daniel Smith, gorgeous. I would recommend the Jean Haynes set if you like similar colors to me. It's got like purple, pink, green, a bit of blue action going on. The colors are just stunning. I would love to get more paint from him. If I'm going to invest in more watercolor, it would be Daniel Smith tubes for sure. I would love to build a Daniel Smith palette one day. So these are Liquitex acrylic inks, and I actually have way more colors, but I just brought over a few. I love these things. I used to use them a lot more and used to just make artworks solely out of these acrylic inks. Now I will use them in conjunction with my watercolors or with those color discs, but they are one of my all-time favorite art supplies and that's why they're getting a mention, especially the muted range. Like I mentioned before, I love the Liquitex muted range in the acrylics, and they have a matching range in the acrylic inks, which I love. I love the fact that you can get the same color in two different textures and finishes. The reason why I like these is because these are permanent. So when you put them down, they don't reactivate with water like watercolor does. So you can do like a base layer, you can do your line art, you can do stuff with these that's not going to budge when you go over it again with watercolor. So paintbrushes that I use for watercolor and for ink stuff, these are two that I would repurchase, and they're not just like little cheap ones that I just buy and use and, you know, there's not really any reason to talk about. But these two are super versatile and I do pretty much use them in every watercolor painting that I do. So this is the Winsor & Newton Cotman number 6 round, and this, the label's worn off and I've had it for years and I don't remember what it is. It starts with something. I think it might be Dynasty actually. Dynasty is the brand. It's made in Thailand and it's a really lovely, I think it might be squirrel hair. It's a natural hair brush. It's beautiful, but when I first got it, I wasn't taking care of my brushes very well and I accidentally left it in water for too long. So the handle's all cracked, which makes me sad, but the brush itself works perfectly. I love this. It is so versatile. So because it's a bigger brush, you can get washes, you can get like broad washes, but it also goes down into quite a small point. So you can get finer detail too. Like the variation you can get with this brush is amazing. It was a little more expensive, especially back then when I wasn't used to paying that much for brushes. I think it was maybe $30, but again, I've had it for years and I use it all the time. It holds water like nothing else. That is something I will say for investing in some more expensive brushes. They do perform differently and you will notice. They do perform better. So I would recommend buying at least like one better quality brush, depending on how you like to work, what size you like to work, whatever, but buy one, experiment. Having this, and then I'm gonna talk about these. Having like a smaller detail brush is like a perfect combination. So these are my Montmartre detail brush collection. This came with heaps of brushes and I've got some on my desk that I'm using at the moment, but I just picked this up to show you guys. So if I have like 2 good quality general brushes, and then for fine detail I have a little cheaper detail brush, that is all I need in like a watercolor or ink painting. Yeah, these, I actually would recommend this a lot too, the detail brush collection. There's a whole different range of brush tips, brush sizes, but they're all small and they're all detail brushes. I'm just gonna chuck it in because it's here and why not. This is my water painting jar and it's from Kmart and I want to get a few more, but I love this thing. It's big and that's about all I can say about it really, but I really like the size. So if you want a new paint water jar, these ones from Kmart, really good. So that was a lot of stuff. I hope I included everything. I'm sure I'm gonna edit this back and then realize that I've forgotten something crucial. So I was just filming the B-roll for this video and I remembered that I totally forgot a whole like section of art supplies. So I'll quickly breeze through it, but it's like the drawing stuff that I use all the time. Every single drawing that I do and have done for the past 8 years has pretty much been with this exact mechanical pencil. It's been started with this. This is what I draw with, this is what I sketch with, this is the thing. You can see it looks like it's been chewed on. I promise you it hasn't. But yeah, I've literally had this thing for 8 years. It's just a mechanical pencil with a 0.5mm lead. But I love mechanical pencils for sketching and for doing like, even if I'm doing a more detailed drawing that I'm gonna use like different graphite pencils on, this is usually what I will start the sketch with. And I like a little detail eraser. This is a brand new one because the last one I had I got with that pencil like 8 years ago and it was falling apart. So this one, honestly, it's fine. I think the eraser is a little bit too hard I need a softer eraser. I don't think I like this that much, but I do like having a detail eraser. This one's the Tombow Mono Zero eraser in ultrafine 2.5 by 5 millimeters. It's fine. On erasers, I really like kneaded erasers. I like them because you can get them, you can mold them into tiny shapes and they do just erase well. They're good. They're a staple for a reason. I think this is just Faber-Castell, but any kneaded eraser I enjoy. And then I just use regular erasers, just a Faber-Castell, and I use this one that I got at Officeworks, which I like actually because it has a cap, so it doesn't get as dirty, but it's also super crumbly, so I don't actually really like the eraser bit of it, but I like that it's also got pencil sharpener in the bottom. And if anyone has any good recommendations for pencil sharpeners, specifically one that has like 2 different sizes, like a bigger hole and like a smaller one, please let me know, because I have yet to find a pencil sharpener that I actually really like, that doesn't like break leads or just, it isn't just kind of annoying to use. So let me know if you know of one. I like the Jelly Roll pens for white details in like acrylic paintings or in drawings. They're good. People swear by Poscas. I enjoy Poscas, but I don't think that the white Poscas are actually that good at white detail. I've never found them that good for that. I've never found them super opaque, which is strange because some people absolutely rave about them. If I'm going to do a pencil drawing and I can't be bothered to get out my like set of drawing pencils, I will usually go in with my mechanical pencil for like the little rough sketch. And I really love a Palomino Blackwing pencil because they get super dark. These get really, really dark and you can lay them up. You can lay them lightly and then get nice tonal value down to quite dark. I like this Pilot Crocus Twist Action Refillable pencil. So you can buy the leads. This is a 6B, but you can buy the replacement leads for it. I bought it kind of on a whim years ago and I enjoy it to this day. I just like the tip on it. You never need to sharpen it. And yeah, I use this in drawings. You can get a bit more of like a larger, tiny bit more of a larger, flatter area with this than you can with like a normal pencil because it is chunkier. And I love water soluble graphite. I think this is super fun. It's really good for loose sketches. I got this is 9B, so this is super, super dark. I would actually like to get a lighter one as well because this one really is dark. I thought it was a 6B, but it's a 9B. No wonder why it's so dark in my drawings. You can use this like normal graphite, but if you add water, which I like to do with like a water brush, because it's easy to keep in my pencil case, it immediately darkens and you can spread it out and paint with it. So it's really, really fun to use and fun to do, fun to use in your sketchbook. The only thing I don't like is that you can see that it's just in this block, and in my pencil case it gets everything really dirty, but you know. I also really like just blending stumps for drawing. When I draw with charcoal or graphite, I love blending stumps. I got a few different sizes, but you know what a blending stump is. I didn't include charcoal in this video because I haven't really found charcoal supplies that I love enough to talk about. You know, the stuff that I use is fine. I use charcoal pencils, I use sticks, and yeah, I'm looking for the charcoal that really works for me. I also use a Luminance Caran d'Ache pencil in white for details for drawing sometimes. Again, I'm looking for the white detail pencils and pastels and pens that really work for me. I haven't really found them yet. I don't know what the deal is with that. I don't know if it's the combination of things I'm using them with, or I've tried pastel pencils, regular pencils. I've tried lots of stuff. This I do tend to enjoy and pick up the most when I'm doing graphite drawings to add highlights, like in my toned paper book. But yeah, I've got to try more things. I haven't found my favorite with white details. And lastly, we've got like the black ink pens that I use if I'm doing an ink drawing. I really like the Uni Pin fine line pens, and I have them in all different sizes. And I like the Pentel Sign pen. It's like a brush pen, but it's got like a firm nylon tip. And I really like the Pentel brush pen, classic brush pen. I don't use it that much, but I do enjoy it. And when I do use brush pens, these are the two that I enjoy. These are all things that I genuinely use in my practice all the time. These are my staple art supplies. So I hope you've enjoyed watching and learning about what I use like on a daily basis to create my artworks. And if you'd like to, follow me on Instagram. It's @bycaitlinbriggs. You can sign up to my newsletter below and receive a copy of my free ebook for artists. So that's fun. You can support me by donating or becoming a member on Ko-fi. And what else? I'm not used to doing this spiel. I'm not used to making videos yet. I know there's something else. Oh yeah, you can follow me on TikTok. So it's Caitlin Briggs Art on TikTok, but it'll all be linked down below. But thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Okay, bye.